Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the AFL Riverina Football and Netball Show. Plenty of interesting results from the netball court and the footy field from the weekend, so let's get straight into the action. We now cross to Brad George, who caught up with Catherine Beachaz from the Leighton Whitten Netball Club.
Okay, we're speaking with Catherine Beachaz from the Leighton Whitten Football and Netball Club. Now, Catherine, give us a snapshot of your background of your illustrious career in netball.
I started with Leighton Whitten in 1996, so I've played for a fair few years. I've played over 300 games, club games for the Leighton Whitten Crows, and I've played 244 A-grade games.
How's things going with a snapshot of Leighton Whitten Netball?
So Leighton Whitten Netball have been very strong since I've basically come to the club. Since 1997 we've had all four grades, which were originally A, B, C and juniors. Now this year's been a little bit of a change and we've got A reserve, B and C grade. We've always had a strong junior section that come up through the club and always a strong senior section as well. We're lacking a few players probably in that 20 to 30 year age range, or around that 25-year-old age range. We tend to keep our juniors really well until they go to uni, unfortunately.
Now, what do you think of the introduction of junior netball into the Southwest Junior Football League, and has that been a good initiative?
I think the introduction of junior netball into Southwest Juniors has been a fantastic initiative. It gives the kids that are younger a little bit of a pathway into senior netball. Basically, we've got 11s, 13s and 15s now in Southwest Juniors, and that gives us a bit of a pathway up into the senior club. And our club's one club, the junior and senior football netball club are together. So really we can have a look at some of the kids and they know what it's about coming into senior netball. So it's been a fantastic initiative, I believe.
Now, what are the challenges of attracting and keeping new players in local netball?
So the challenges for us in keeping and attracting new players are basically keeping our good kids, because once they get to that uni age range or they've finished school, they tend to sort of go away from Leighton. Up to that age group, we can keep them pretty well. The seniors, we've got a lot of people 30 and over, but so as I said before, we're struggling to get new people in that 20 to 30 age range with a bit of experience.
Now, how can AFL Riverina raise the profile of its netball competitions?
Raising the profile of the netball competition. This year there's been a really good initiative in the record, which is the Rising Star. I think that's a fantastic initiative along with the football. Something else that they could probably do is actually have a profile of a netballer in the record each week, maybe a match of the round in the Daily Advertiser. In this part of the world, in MIA, I know that the Area News and the Irrigator are very good promoting netball. We always have an article in the paper during the week. So from this part of the world, it's good. But overall, they probably need to look at something like the match of the round and profile players.
Now, what are your thoughts on senior netball rep program being introduced on the long weekend in June, which will complement rep footy, Riverina versus Farrer in the Opens and under-17s?
I actually think it's a really good initiative. I have played in the Riverina representative team a few years back. It's getting a bit more profile by bringing in the representative team. The only thing is, being on the long weekend probably means that you probably aren't getting the best players. I know that with the 17 and unders there's an actual state age competition on that weekend, so they go away, the best 17s go away, and some of the older ladies that are playing find it difficult to get that weekend off. But it's a really good starting point, and it can only improve from here, and that's another way that we can raise that profile. So it's been excellent, I think.
Who are the teams to beat in the Riverina Netball League senior competition this year?
Definitely Narrandera. We played them last week and they defeated us by 26 goals. They've got two of their more experienced and better players back, so they haven't lacked in recruiting. I go as far as to say, yeah, they'll be a very difficult team to beat. They remind me of the Turvey Park teams of the early 2000s to mid 2000s. Very same sort of style of play, run-on game, very quick transition from defence in attack. The other teams you really can't write off are Wagga Tigers. They're always strong, and I believe Turvey Park, they had a young side last year and they've got that maturity, one year of more experience and maturity, and so I think Turvey Park will be a bit of a dark horse.
Thanks to Catherine and Brad for those great insights. Let's get stuck into all the footy action for this weekend. I'm joined by Shane Buchanan. We'll start with the OAMPS Insurance Brokers Riverina Footy League. Shane, game of the round, Colin Gully versus Griffith. Gully coming off a win last week. Griffith a close defeat. How do you see this?
Yeah, this should be a really good game, Matt. I suppose positions at the moment, Colin Gully are 5th on the ladder, Griffith are 3rd. I suppose a lot of pundits before the season started thought perhaps Griffith wouldn't be that high on the ladder, and they are. So they'll be looking to secure that position. Colin Gully last week, they had a good 28-point win against Leighton Whitten at home, so they'll be happy about that. I suppose a positive, they had 29 scoring shots on goal with 8 goal kickers, so they're spreading the goal kickers there, which makes it challenging for opposition teams trying to defend that. Look, Colin Gully were looking to desperately win to make sure they stay in the top 5. Griffith last week had an 8-point loss to Wagga Tigers at home. They'd be disappointed about that. Probably looking for more avenues to goal. I think they only kicked 11 goals for the particular game and kicked 11 goals 14. So perhaps some goal kicking practice might be on the agenda there for training during the week with Guy Orton and the club. Look, Griffith are desperate to win this game because top 3 position is up for grabs, and they need to win against probably a team that is more fancied this year to make sure that they do play finals. I suppose looking at key matchups in the ruck, it'll be Measelbeck and also Jackson up against Poker, who's a convert from rugby league in the ruck, so that should be an interesting duel there. I suppose a critical one, Mark Gebbett kicked 6 goals last week. Griffith will need to contain him, so Malone will have a big job there. But I think the battle in the midfield will be really interesting. Some quality players right through there in both clubs. In the likes of Colin Gully, we've got Chris Gow, we've got Gordon, also Allen and also Aiken, up against some real class players in the likes of Mickey Duncan, Crack, and also Guy Orton. So it should be a really good, interesting game. Flip of the coin, probably a result, but I think I might just go with Colin Gully with the game being played at the Crossroads on the weekend. Yeah,
looking forward to it. It should be a close game. We move on. We've got Mangapla versus Narrandera now. Mangapla, the Goannas coming off 2 wins over the last 2 rounds. They're in some pretty good form. Narrandera not so. No. Had a tough loss to Coolman last weekend. How do you see this one?
Yeah, look, Mangapla will be looking to build some momentum. I think a couple of good wins sort of thing. They need to keep winning, obviously. Narrandera being rocked by a few injuries and players being unavailable at the moment, so they'll be looking to rebound. Obviously got a lot of young players playing Narrandera, so both teams will be fairly youthful, you would imagine. But I think Mangapla's form's perhaps been a little bit better than Narrandera's at this early stage.
We'll just touch on the other 2 games for the rest of the Riverina round. We've got Ganmain taking on Leighton Whitten.
Ganmain had the bye last week, so they should be fresh. I mean, nothing like a week off just to recuperate, especially in regards to injuries. Leighton Whitten, competitive effort against Colin Gully last week. They'd be happy with that. Damien Lang gave him a bit of a roast, I think, during the week prior to that match. So they responded, got beaten, but fairly well competitive. I think Ganmain, undefeated at the moment, sitting on top of the ladder, probably have too much class for the young Leighton Whitten Crows.
And the last game, probably the informed side, along with Ganmain in the competition, Coolman taking on Turvey Park. Do you give the Bulldogs any chance?
No, probably not at this stage. I mean, these 2 clubs, arch rival, played a number of grand finals over a long period of time. Both respect each other, but I just think Coolman at the moment was a fairly good win last week against Narrandera. Coach Matt Hart said they didn't play well, but still won convincingly. Turvey Park, they played well last week. Feedback was they were very competitive. Anyone takes them lightly, they'll find out and get beaten. But I think Coolman perhaps too much class for the young Bulldogs.
Okay, we move on now to the OAMPS Insurance Brokers Farah Footy League. No doubt what the match of the round is here. We have the grand final rematch from last year. Both sides in really hot form. I think Temora have only lost 1 game, the opener for the year, and the Rock are undefeated. How do you see this one panning out?
Well, it's the biggest game of the year, Matt. There's no doubt about that. I mean, this should be a ripper. So I just encourage everyone to get out to Victoria Park at the Rock and watch this particular match. I suppose overall the Rock's form has been red hot. There's no doubt about that. They're winning and winning well, and they're putting teams away. So that reflects they're really hungry. Obviously trying to I suppose, redeem themselves after last year's final and put a strong message out to the other clubs that they're fair dinkum this year. There's no doubt about that. Recruited really well in the off-season as well. They're fit and they've been very disciplined, and they're playing well. Temora, they had a big win against CSU last week. And I suppose a bit of a kick in the bum first round against the Jets. But I mean, they kicked 22 goals. They had 22 goals last week, 11 different goal kickers. So I mean, they're being dangerous as well in regards to their forward line. So the Rock will need to make sure their matchups are good. I suppose coming into this game, both clubs have had big wins, I suppose. So probably not the ideal preparation coming into this particular game. But anyway, I mean, both are on the same page in regards to that. Key players, in regards to the Rock, Mitch Ward and also Luke Webb both kicked 5 goals last week, so 2 avenues to goal. Temora need to make sure that they're going to cover that and they're dangerous players. But I mean, they'll be looking at like Chris Brock and also Charlie Valance to make sure that they can nullify those two guys. The midfield battle will be interesting as well. You know, we've got experienced players like Yates and Pieper and Matheson up against quality players in Macaulay, Adam Reid and also Sam Fisher. So that's where the game will be won and lost, no doubt. So those guys and their performance will be critical on the weekend.
Obviously, this gives us a bit of an indication early on as to who will be flag favourites. I'll spit that out, despite the fact that we're only at round 5. We're keen to know who you're going to go with.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Psychological advantage is very important, even though it's early in the year. Last year's grand final, is there a psychological advantage? I mean, so we'll find out a lot from this weekend. And looking for a winner, I think the Rock will win at home in a real close one.
Okay, we look forward to that one. We move on. CSU take on the Northern Jets. The Jets probably the one side to, at this stage, look like they're going to challenge Temora and the Rock. CSU been a bit up and down. How do you kind of see this one?
Yeah, CSU be really disappointed last week's performance. The margin was quite significant, and I mean, they'll need to regroup fairly quickly, and Brett Garrett, no doubt, would have had a tough week. Just getting the boys pumped up again, and forget last week, let's get on to this week. But you're right, the Jets are one of the 3 teams that are probably standing out at the moment early in the competition that are going to have a major say in this competition, and I think the Jets should get over the young CSU Bush Pigs.
We look at the other 2 games just quickly. The Mara Bombers take on Collyamberley. Thoughts there?
Yeah, another one. Went and watched Collyamberley last week against East Wagga. In patches, played well. Mara had a disappointing defeat last week. And so both clubs' forms have been up and down, there's no doubt, and both desperate for a win. Look, I might just go with Mara at home, perhaps to get over the Collyamberley Blues.
And we've got the Wagga Derby, the East Wagga Coringal Hawks taking on the North Wagga Saints. Both sides, East Wagga got a win last week, but both sides here will be pretty keen to get the 4 points.
Yeah, they would, Matt. I went and watched East Wagga, as I said, against Collie last week. They looked really good in patches. I mean, when they move the ball, they're a very quick team, probably looking for more consistency in doing that. North Wagga, they're a young team, so both of these clubs are probably on about the same par in regards to where their season is. Look, I'm going to go with East Wagga at home. What I saw last week, they were good in patches. They just need to be more consistent, and I think they should get over the young North Wagga Saints. Beautiful.
So there you have it, folks. That's the preview of the Riverina and Farrer Footy Leagues for this week. Make sure you get out and support your footy team. Thanks for your company. We'll catch you again next week.